Hi guys, I'm coming at you today with a no makeup vlog. This is an absolute first for me. I've never done this, and I think it's very appropriate because I'm going to be speaking to you guys today about social anxiety and what it feels like. And so I'm putting myself out there completely vulnerable, not in my element, to talk about a subject that means a lot to me. This was a challenge for myself. So I also made a video about depression and what it feels like, so I'll link that down below on this channel. And also I wanted to mention that I'm going to be doing an interview with Haley Grace. She is an awesome YouTuber. She has an extremely positive view on things. She tries to help people who are dealing with depression and social anxiety, and I love having positive people on my channel. So that's going to be this Thursday from 3 until 4 p.m. Eastern time, so please come and join us if you can, and write us questions on the Google Plus Hangout. Thank you guys for that. So I will get right into this because I've never really described to you guys how social anxiety manifests itself for me because it's different for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what kind of symptoms I experience, and if any of you can relate, please thumbs up the video or comment down below. Let me know what you can relate to as well. So one of my first symptoms, I actually wrote down everything so that I could remember, is I tend to overthink any big social event. So let's say I found out about a party on Monday and the party's all the way on Friday. I'm thinking about it the whole week. Like, for me, it's something that just spirals around in my head, kind of ruminating thoughts going, what am I gonna wear? How am I gonna present myself? What am I gonna say to people? I get really nervous about that kind of stuff. And so I just basically really fear that upcoming day, even though it's out of my control in the sense that I agreed to it. I know it's coming up. The time is ticking. I can't prevent that, and it's something I'm going to have to face. Another thing for me, I think a lot of you can relate to this, is a fear of eye contact. So I'm not horrible with it. It depends on the person. I find some people just like lock eyes with you, and that can be very intimidating for me, but I try. But the problem is I start thinking about eye contact, and once that gets into my mind, it's a lot more awkward. It's like when you start thinking about having to breathe sometimes, you're like, how do I just do that automatically, you know? And it becomes a little bit harder for you once you really stop and think about it. This is a big one for me. Awkward body language. So I'm always like, where do I put my hands? So I'll be there, I'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, wringing your hands. Like, I feel like I fidget a lot because I get nervous. Most of the times I try and kind of like fake an overconfident stance. So I'll have like my hands on my hips and like talking to the person. So for me, that's huge. I never know where to put my hands. Sometimes I'll put it in my jeans back pocket, or I'll loop it through my jeans. I mean, it varies, but that's huge for me. That's one of the big symptoms that I have. Another huge one for me is the fear of saying or doing the wrong thing. That is huge. That is my biggest thing, probably. I'm just scared that I'm gonna say something, people are gonna think that's stupid. Like, I am scared of being judged. That's why going on here without makeup is like, whoa, that's a big thing for me. I'm scared of someone thinking like, because no one ever really says to me, I don't get much negative feedback like, that girl's stupid, that girl's ugly, that girl's fat. Like, I don't get that very often, but if at all. But it's been a fear of mine because I'm like, what's going on in their head? Are they thinking that what I'm saying is idiotic? Are they thinking, oh man, she looks horrible today? Stuff like that, It's things that are out of my control, but I can't help but think about it. So that's huge for me. And I feel like if I do the wrong thing, I have that fear a lot in school. Like, let's say we have, since I'm in science, sometimes we have labs. So you have to go around, you have to mix things up and make sure that you get the right ratios for things and blah, blah, blah. That makes me so nervous. I'm like, what if I do something wrong or someone laughs at me? That is, I can't even tell you guys how huge that is for me. Also, profusely sweating. Doesn't happen too often, but sometimes I get really choked up and I feel myself sweating and I get really uncomfortable. Clammy, cold hands as well. And I used to, not so much anymore, but I used to blush a lot. Like, I would get really, really red. Now it's not so much unless I really do something stupid, and then I'm like, okay, like, now I'm feeling it. But it doesn't happen as much as it used to. One of the big things I'm trying to work on is I hear one of the best things you can do is to put the focus on the other person. So I tend to focus on myself. Like, right now during this vlog, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, remember you're not wearing makeup. And I'm not gonna forget that. Like, it's not something that's natural for me. So that's something that I want to work on and stop thinking like, You know, where am I putting my hands? What do I look like? No, all that stuff. If you focus on the other person, it alleviates so much anxiety, guys. Like, just try it, honestly. That's one of the big things I've been working on. And especially, like, I wanted to mention, especially if I'm not feeling my best. So, like, right now I'm not feeling my best. If I was completely dolled up, I'd be like, whatever. But putting myself out there as a challenge for me, it's like, that's when it's the best time to challenge myself and really to try and focus on the other person. Also, this is not always, but there are some times where I feel a sense of inferiority with people, and that causes anxiety, and I get kind of like jealousy and tend to compare myself. It's of course more with females than with males. I honestly get along with males for the most part more than females, just because of my upbringing. I have a younger brother, we do a lot of video games together, I'm into metal music, I'm into scuba diving and kind of more extreme things, so it's harder for me to relate to girls on some levels, although I do like makeup and I do like girly things. But my point is, for me, it's always been easier to talk to and relate to guys than girls. And so sometimes when I'm with a girl, I'll automatically compare myself physical basis, mental basis. Of course, like, that gets you absolutely nowhere, and I'm learning to accept myself for who I am. Everyone is different, but I'm just saying that that's something that kind of goes through my head at times. Now I'm quickly going to mention what sets off my social anxiety the most. So one of the big things are big, very crowded events. So weddings, family get-togethers, more when it's someone else's family than my own. With my own, like, when I know people, I have less anxiety, but for me with strangers, I have more anxiety. I know it's the opposite for a lot of people, because when you know someone, you're worried about how they're going to judge you or whatever, because you know, they know you, you know them, so they might care more in a sense. A stranger you might never see again. But for me, for some reason, it's the complete opposite. Also, another big thing for me is men breaking into my personal circle. So if I'm walking down the street and someone honks at me, or someone compliments me, or someone says something to me, although it might not be a bad thing, that's what causes me to sweat and get uncomfortable, and, like, you know, sometimes I even get knots in my stomach, the whole butterflies thing, to add to the symptoms list. So that's something that really gets to me. That's one of my big triggers as well. And then my last thing is meeting new people, so things that cause me to break out of my comfort zone. So that's why I like doing these interviews on here, because it really challenges me. But of course, if I was one-on-one with the person in real life, it would bring that extra level. Like, if it was the exact same scenario, let's say Google Hangout, like I've been doing my interviews, and I was talking with the person I'm interviewing, but then around us were the 10 other people that are viewing the video, my anxiety would be a lot higher, guys. Like, that's the truth of the matter. But, you know, I like the fact that I challenge myself, and even with this whole list of things I named you, like, this is something I work on daily. I challenge myself so that I can be a social person, get out in the world, and not, I feel like the more you do not face your problems, the more withdrawn you get, and the more these issues can get to you. So I just wanted to, you know, tell you guys about that. So thumbs up for the bravery with my no makeup today. And I will talk to you all soon, my precious gems. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.